And for more on this, Nancy Grace is the host of Crime Stories on Fox Nation. And Nancy, as this news happens just as we are right here live on air in Northport, Florida, searching the home again. There's so much to ask you. Let's just get your take on what they might be looking for at the home.
Well, number one, with all of the press and citizens outside the home, how did Laundrie get out and nobody noticed? That place has been staked out 24/7. Did he really go to Carlton Reserve? Why do we believe that, other than that's what the parents said? I don't understand how the car could have left with him in it, and then the parents bring it back, and nobody sees any of this happening. I'm also very concerned about the condition in which Gabby was found, her remains. Was she buried? Was she at the bottom of a ravine? Was she attacked by animals? Did she die from the elements? Because if Gabby was buried, then she was murdered. That's what I need to find out.
So the autopsy will be done tomorrow. And I understand, they have to wait a little while. The police seem to feel pretty sure about this, so no doubt the family is very devastated. Interestingly, in this case, Nancy, these bloggers are looking back through their video, their travel video. These are civilians, and they see the van, and then they look and a little bit closer, they see the hat that was also in other photographs that we had of the van or video. Then they see sandals that seem to match the ones that Gabby had. So they were critically important to getting to this point where the FBI was able to find the body.
Yes, and I don't want to be too hard on them not finding the body earlier, because this is a huge, thousands and thousands of acres. And remember, they were in dispersed camping, which means they're not where the laundry or the porta potties or the trash is. They're beyond that, way off the grid. And I just say thank God that a blogger saw that and posted it, or another camper, because that really helped them hone in. But the nature of the discovery of the body is going to be critical. They had up a tent, so you couldn't really see what is going on. But back to Laundrie, I'm suspicious, was he ever even in Carlton Reserve? And here's something else for you to think about. Has anybody seen him at all since he got home on September 1? How long has he really been gone? Remember, the parents wouldn't let the cops in the home. They wouldn't let them see Laundrie. They wouldn't let them see Laundrie or talk to him. Has he been gone this whole time? Breaking news tonight has the frantic search for 22-year-old van life girl Gabby Petito come to an end.
Full forensic identification has not been completed to confirm 100% that we found Gabby, but her family has been notified of this discovery. The cause of death has not been determined at this time. We appreciate your continued support and patience as we work through this process. The vicinity around Spread Creek campsite will remain closed to the public until further notice. This is an active and ongoing investigation, so we ask everyone maintain distance from law enforcement personnel and equipment, vehicles, and related activity for their own safety, as well as to protect the integrity of our work and respect privacy for Gabby's family.
Breaking now at this hour, we are live in Wyoming and the desperate search for 22-year-old Gabby Petito. In the rugged terrain of the Grand Tetons, Wyoming, search dogs have now been called off and sent home as the medical examiner's wagon approaches. We believe the body of the so-called van life girl has been discovered in the dispersed camping area at rough terrain Bridger Teton. Gabby, on a cross-country trek with boyfriend 23-year-old Brian Laundrie, when he comes home to his parents in Florida with Gabby's van, but without Gabby, September 1, it's 10 more days before Gabby's parents realize Gabby is missing. But in the thick of it all, in the middle of the search for Gabby, boyfriend Brian Laundrie disappears. His parents now claiming he went for a walkabout in the densely wooded and swampy Myakatchee Reserve, over 25,000 acres of wilderness. Or did he? Does Laundrie even have any idea Gabby's body has been found? Where was she killed? How was she killed? When was she killed? Tonight, what happened to Gabby? Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. Thank you for being with us. The tip line for anyone that thinks they know anything about what happened to Gabby, 1-800-CALL-FBI. With me, an all-star panel to break down what we know at this hour. But first, straight out to investigative reporters on the ground outside the home of boyfriend Brian Laundrie and in Wyoming's very vast Grand Teton National Park. Straight to Wyoming and Fox News senior correspondent Laura Ingle. Laura, thank you for being with us. What do we know?
Hi, Nancy. Well, you know, the day started off with all of us following along with the search efforts that were going on for the missing 22-year-old. And then by midday, all of our phones went off with news that the county coroner had been called to the very spot where those search efforts were being focused over the weekend and specifically today. Now, those search teams had been combing the specific area at the Spread Creek dispersed camping area. They were looking for any signs of Petito after her boyfriend, as you mentioned, Brian Laundrie, returned home from their cross-country trip to Florida without her in her van September 1st. Now, it appears, Nancy, that a travel blogger who posts videos to YouTube may have provided a critical clue overnight to Gabby Petito's last known whereabouts after discovering she had captured the couple's white Ford van in the area on August 27th near the Grand Teton National Park. And she shared that video with the FBI and family this morning. Now, we grabbed still shots of the dashboard of the couple's van, both from the body cam footage of that traffic stop we've all seen in Utah on August 12th and of this blogger's van sighting. And you can clearly see in these pictures what looks like Gabby's hat in the same spot on the dashboard in both videos. So this was a strong indication. This was a real clue in the case, which led to police to this campsite. And though this grim discovery was made today, the investigation is far from over. As you said, many questions. The FBI saying today they still need anyone who may have seen anything in this area to come forward.
Joining me in Wyoming is Laura Ingram, Fox Chief News Correspondent. Laura, it's so important that we understand when Brian Laundrie left. Now, how do we figure that out? There is some discussion that he actually flew home in the middle of their trip and then went back out. And the fact that the van is sitting there seemingly abandoned gives me a lot of information. But I want to get back to the coroner's wagon pulling up today and the search dogs being called off. That had to be a real kick in the teeth because so many of us had been hoping and praying that Gabby was still alive, that somehow she was trapped down a ravine or she had taken up with other friends and was making her way home somehow, some way. But that was not to be. What happened when the coroner's van pulled up?
You know, they kept all press away from this area, not just when that happened today, but earlier yesterday when this area had been honed in on. This was going to be a potential area. And then, of course, that tip from the YouTube blogger came in. But when that happened, you know, there was just almost this pall that came over the area because all of the reporters in the area, I was actually spending a little bit of my day with the stepfather, Jim Schmidt, earlier, and we had done a walk and talk interview talking about just the grand scope of what this search area has been. And when you get here, if you've never been to this area and you are just taken aback by the mountains and the wide open spaces and, you know, talking about what that was going to be like. So we had just had a conversation and I can tell you, Nancy, after being with him today and being hopeful that there were going to be some type of results, not this one, of course, it hit all of us. And I think that everybody watching and following this case feels the same, just so incredibly sad at these new developments.